my dream right there. Dog on a paddleboard. Kenny's boat has, I don't know what's happened.
Without my love for the ocean, I would be long gone by now. It's some kind of devotion that brings me down.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Sailing Zephyr. This week we bring a video that was very tough to put together and also should be pretty tough to watch, since what happens to a very dear friend of ours, Kenny from Sea Dogs.
Kenny wanted us to put this video together for really a couple of reasons. One, obviously, so you can understand what's happened to him and his boat, but also as an opportunity for people to sort of, I guess, learn from what's happened to him and the experience that they went through. Lastly, guys, if you want to get in contact with Kenny from Sea Dogs to obviously show some support or ask any questions about what happened, the details will be in the description below. I'm not going to say watch and enjoy, but watch, and please leave your comments or feedback below. We'd love to hear what you guys think. So.
The week begins by getting a last-minute visit from Kenny and Mika aboard their boat, Sea Dogs. They had travelled across the Atlantic and had met us in the Azores. It is there where we shared heaps of laughs over stories about each of our crossings. We were so excited to see Kenny and Mika. They had been sailing solo from Portugal and were on a tight schedule to get to Italy, so we felt super lucky to get a glimpse of them. With our boats anchored side by side, we head into town to explore the island of Formentera. We spent an awesome day out together cycling, catching up and exploring Formentera. But as we headed back to our anchored boats, we were met with this scene which quickly left us all speechless. I don't know what's happened. Kenny's boat is essentially on the beach and we don't know whether someone else caught his anchor or whether the anchor chain snapped. We don't know what's happened, so fouled anchor, I don't know. But he's on the beach at the moment and James and him just went over. Me and the dog got left here, so we're just trying to figure out what's going on. It's absolutely horrible. I feel for him, and it's all a little bit nerve-wracking, and you feel a little bit sick and anxious because it could have been anyone's boat there. So.
So this is what happened with Sea Dogs on the day when it broke free. Kenny's boat was sitting here. The anchor chain like so. You had ferries that were passing across the front of the anchorage. Now these are large ferries, massive passenger ferries going from Ibiza to Formentera. And they're actually supposed to slow down to a crawl as they go by the anchorage, but they don't. They've been warned, but they still proceed past the anchorage at high speed, and they create swell that can be anywhere up to sort of 3 feet. And that swell goes this way. As the swell would go this way, his boat would be going up and down with the swell as it proceeded across. So his bow would be going like this, up and down. And they're quite violent waves, and as I said, they could be up to 3 feet. Sea Dogs had backed down on their anchor correctly and had a correct amount of scope out at the time. For those of you that have sailed in the Med, you'll notice very, very few people actually use a snubber. And it's common practice just to anchor on chain with no snubber. So with the continued up and down motion from the ferry traffic, the nut on the clutch, for some reason, progressively failed as the ferry traffic waves continued to cause this up and down motion. So eventually what happened, as the nut was starting to fail, it was paying out more and more chain to the bottom, and the boat was slowly starting to back up. So as it kept paying out chain down and the boat kept backing up, eventually the nut on the clutch failed altogether, and with the amount of chain that was already currently overboard, it started to obviously spill much quicker. And eventually, as the chain picked up speed and started spilling overboard, it snapped the safety line inside the chain locker that was attached to the end of the chain and dropped all of the anchor and chain on the sea.
Kenny, any last words?
I must go to call the crane.
I just hope the mast doesn't break. Really?
No.
As Kenny finishes up his coffee, the salvage team from Ibiza finally arrives. Tensions are quite high and we're all a bit nervous. Lauda from the Posidonia Vigilante Patrol is on hand to help us through the process this morning.
Nervous? Nervous. As he looked nervous in his boat, not knowing what the outcome would be. Yeah, it's not.
Yes, yes, joder. Con lo bien que lo he hecho yo antes.
Kenny, you should grab this.
Few remaining pieces in my boat.
Yeah.
Oh wow, dude.
All the parts down below.
Join us next week as things take a turn for the worse. We experience our first metacane as we hide out in the bottom of Ibiza. Do our best to avoid boats that have anchored way too close during the storm. This boat here, anchored way too close. And we watch on as these two cats get a little too close for comfort.